Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast. My name is Erik Vasquez, and joining me on the line is my podcasting partner in crime. Yes, that rhymes. She comes straight from the Berg. She is none other than Shay Hickson. Shay, how's it going, my friend? How are you?
Can't complain. I could because I don't know how my Steelers are 2-1 right now, but we'll take it, I guess. I don't know. The way they're winning these games, I'm not too confident in. Like, you can't force 5 turnovers and only get 14 points off of it. It's kind of sad.
Listen, a win's a win. I don't know what a win feels like in the NFL season so far. So we're just going to move on. All right.
Fair enough. All right.
We're going to move on because this past yesterday hurt. So we're just going to move on anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is the Ringside Rundown podcast. It's a podcast about professional wrestling where Shay and I discuss the hot topics going on in the world of professional wrestling, whether it's WWE, AEW, New Japan, TNA, Ring of Honor. It doesn't matter. If it's wrestling, we're talking about it on the podcast. And on this episode, we have a very big episode because we're going to recap the crazy weekend of wrestling that we got. I mean, we were very spoiled with AEW All Out in the afternoon, and then later on in the evening, WWE Wrestlepalooza. 2 very polarizing shows. But we're gonna get into it and talk about the shows, give our match ratings like we usually do, our flame emoji ratings that we usually do and stuff like that. But man, a little bit of news in terms of accessing WWE content. We both had a colossal pain in the ass time trying to get this show on our television screens. Is that right?
Yeah, okay, I'll just set the scene here so everybody get comfortable. So, obviously, when it comes to like the AEW pay-per-views, I just always have it up on my computer and like plug the HDMI cable into my TV because it's just easier.
Right.
I wish I could do it through my PlayStation if it solved all my problems, but so that gets done. I think I know at the time they opened Wrestlepalooza with Lesnar and Cena, so I really wasn't too bent out of shape that I missed it, clearly, which we'll deal with that later. So I'm like, okay, so now I gotta unplug the laptop, put my PlayStation's HDMI back in, and then hope that I could use the ESPN app through my PlayStation, which I didn't see how I couldn't, because why wouldn't you? So I get through this app, I download it, I follow the instructions, I open up the QR code. It said, all right, it's time to link your account. And so of course, first it's I don't even remember what the top like option was. We'll just say it was like, if you want to sign up, whatever. And then it's like, okay, well, if you have a cable provider, you can link it here. And they had like 4 or 5 options. And I'm seeing Spectrum, I'm seeing DirecTV, I'm seeing Fubo, I'm seeing Hulu, I'm seeing YouTube TV. The one I'm not seeing is Xfinity, which is the cable provider I have. So I'm like, that's kind of weird. What the fuck's up with that? So I Googled it, and they're like, oh, yeah, Xfinity and ESPN don't have a deal for ESPN Unlimited. So if you have cable, Xfinity cable, you can't use the app. So in short, I didn't see a single fucking match of that pay-per-view because I refused to pay for something else extra because everybody's being fucking greedy. So I tried to follow along a little bit on Twitter, but yeah, so I'm sure a lot of other people learned that lesson too. If you have cable or if you have Xfinity, and I would assume probably Dish because I didn't see Dish on there either.
No, YouTube TV is not on there because I have YouTube TV and YouTube TV is not on there. So they were offering a free trial of Hulu, so I went ahead and did the Hulu thing, and I'll switch over to Hulu once my YouTube TV is done for the month. But I essentially had the same issue you did. And, I just found that workaround, and it's just, it's just, damn, what a headache, you know. Like
Yeah.
we used to have it so good with the WWE network, remember? And
Yeah.
as much as we bitched about them constantly with the 9.99, man, honestly, I would take that back in a heartbeat,
Absolutely.
just to not have to go through what we were going through. We had it good. We had it
Yeah.
good. We had an app. We had an entire app that
Mhm.
was all WWE, every single facet of WWE all in one. Why did it have to change? I don't get it.
Oh, I know why. Because corporate greed. That's why.
I mean, yeah. Ultimately, when you look at the points, that's probably what it boils down to. It's just for a regular Joe Schmo like me who likes wrestling, who would love to be able to just go on and have it easy as day, pull up something whenever I want to watch, whether it's old school or whatever. That used to be the easiest thing with the WWE network, and now we have these headaches, and it's just my bill, and now
Yeah.
I gotta cancel one service before it renews, so that way I could start up a new service and pay
Yeah.
for the new service, so that way I could watch these PLEs. If it wasn't for SmackDown being on the USA Network, I wouldn't even need this. And honestly, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like maybe I should just get a VPN and then use international Netflix whenever SmackDown comes on. But then in my head, I'm like, something's going to go wrong, or I'm going
Yeah.
to end up wanting something on TV that I can't find because I don't have TV. So it's just like, it's a pain in the ass.
It's just it's ridiculous to say the least. Because I feel like we already knew that this whole ESPN rollout thing was convoluted from the get-go because the rollout for it was just so shit. Let's just call it for what it was. It was
Yeah.
terrible. It was confusing. And they really made it seem like, oh, well, if you have cable, you're good. Clearly, they didn't, have a little asterisk next to it being like, oh, only certain cables. Like
Yeah.
of all fucking cable networks, Xfinity doesn't have it, really.
Yeah.
Like a
That's kind of
lot of
weird.
people. Yeah, like what's going on? So, yeah, it's kind of got to the point where it's like, enough's enough. I'm not spending more money because you're so fucking greedy that, oh, well, we'll just get you some other way. I mean, if you want to watch this so badly, and it's like, you know what? No, I really don't want to watch it that badly. If you want me to spend $30 a month or 300 a year, oh, fuck out of here with that shit. Like, no, I won't. So needless to say, Eric's going to be doing the heavy lifting on Wrestlepalooza because I can only go off of what I saw on Twitter. So
All right.
sorry, guys, but I'm not falling into the corporate greed more than I already am. So
No,
no.
I am in full agreement with you. If you feel you don't want to spend more money than you already have to for this stuff, then don't do it. Then that goes for anybody, really.
Yeah, don't fall for it, guys.
Yeah, don't fall for this trap. You know, I do it because of the content, and because I take this seriously as a job. So for me, this is like a work expense. You know,
Yeah. What I
it's-
find hilarious about all of this is wasn't Nick Khan the exact same guy that was like, oh, I think everyone's going to follow us off of Peacock to ESPN? And it's like, you fucking sure about that, Nick?
well, I mean, now that they have this situation where certain cable providers can't coincide with the ESPN app, I mean, I want to see if there's any metrics, any data, that shows,
Yeah.
this many people downloaded the app and this many people were watching Wrestlepalooza. We haven't heard any of those things like, oh, it broke this record or anything. I mean, they could have
Yeah.
did that on Raw or something like that. I haven't watched any of Raw. I'm gonna watch it after we're done recording the podcast, but I haven't heard any, oh, we broke these records, like the usual stuff that you hear
Mhm.
after the PLEs. So I'm wondering if this
Pretty telling.
maybe this fell short of expectations.
Oh, I think it's a guarantee it did because just from what I saw all over Twitter, I'm just like, this was the grand entrance into ESPN. This was in Triple H's, oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. We have all these surprises in store. Just you wait. This is going to be fantastic. Was it? It
I
didn't
don't
really
know.
seem like it. I'm
Well,
like, what surprises? What you ain't seen nothing yet? I feel like that's just like it's so kind of it's just hilarious to me because wasn't this kind of the same exact shit that the WWE diehards would kill Tony Khan for? Oh, he's just the boy who cried wolf. He's always gonna say it's gonna be this, it's gonna be that, blah blah blah. It's like how funny. It's just the tables turn
yeah.
because Triple H is literally becoming what everybody makes fun of Tony Khan for.
Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see at the end of the year who gets that Booker of the Year award. It's gonna be very, very interesting. It's gonna be very interesting. I will say,
Yeah.
like down the stretch, uh, you know, I wouldn't say that Saturday the tide turned a certain way. This was
No.
this was one of those, maybe you slightly won the battle, but you haven't won the war sort of thing.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, to be fair, I mean obviously I can't really go off of every like a complete side by side comparison between the two, but from what I saw with AEW, was it good? Yes, I think so. I thought it was a
Mm,
pretty good pay-per-view. There were definitely some matches where, like we always say, we always have that little inkling of this probably shouldn't have been on the card. This should have been on Dynamite or Collision, and some
right,
of those matches definitely proved us right.
right.
There were some endings to some matches that were very underwhelming
Mm-hmm.
and kind of killed the vibe a little bit, but I feel like you kind of the faults weren't greater than like the wins. I guess I know I feel like that was a terrible way to word it, but it's pretty much how it was. Where it's just like the good things that happened with All Out outweighed the bad. That's more
Right.
like it. And with Wrestlepalooza, I don't think it did that because, again, from what I saw, there were a lot of questionable decisions in regards to endings of matches or just the fact of how they ended.
Mm,
Should somebody have done this? Should it have ended this way? And it was just kind of like it just seemed like a whole comedy of errors
yeah.
with WrestlePalooza when your own, like when ESPN, the company that you are now having your PLEs on, rated your show on their network a C. Not very good. Not a very good introduction into, you know, ESPN. But you know, sometimes karma's a bit of a bitch, and I think they might have bit a or WWE in the ass a little bit because you and I were talking about it before we came on air. It was almost as if for a company who supposedly is so insignificant as AEW is to WWE, they sure love to, you know, counter program them and everything. And we kind of thought right away that this whole WrestlePalooza thing was kind of thrown together just because, oh well, All Out's going to be on that we or that Saturday, so we need to have something too because we can't be left behind either. And they kind of forgot that, oh, you have to actually build shit up and make it worth watching. And I think they kind of forgot to do that.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. Only thing I will say is for those of you that are listening at home that are waiting for us to get through like the ratings and stuff like that, I took notes basically, and my notes kind of read off as if I'm writing. You know, I
Mm,
at heart I am a writer, so
yeah,
it's gonna
I
sound
get it.
like it's gonna sound like I'm reading a long article or whatever, but it's
Yeah,
because my note taking at the heart of it is that I'm a writer, so it kind of comes off like I've written an entire article.
yeah,
But thankfully, because of the situation, I was able to watch the show, so I was able to take the notes and then we can talk about Wrestle. We're gonna talk about WrestlePalooza first, and then we're also gonna talk about All Out, and then discuss the two shows head to head and stuff like that. But why don't we get into WrestlePalooza? Um,
have fun.
this was I get that being on ESPN is a big deal, but the video package to start the show that they played was crazy long. It was crazy
Yeah.
long to start the package, and I hate to sound like a complainer because I'm sure that's something easy that everybody was going to complain about, but my word, this was a long intro. And then Triple H welcomes us to ESPN. Then Pat McAfee shows up. At a certain point, it's just like, when do we get to the wrestling? Which finally we do. The opening contest is John Cena taking on his arch nemesis, Brock Lesnar. Brock is jacked to the gills. John Cena came out with like 50 kids. Paul Heyman is now back to introducing Brock, which was kind of a surprise, kind of not a surprise, but it was an okay moment. And all of this was just to have Brock go out there and completely dismantle Cena. This wasn't as savage as the SummerSlam 2014 beating, but it was pretty one-sided. Okay, Brock no sold 3 AAs back to back, and then he hit Cena with 6 F5s for the win. The crowd is shocked. I'm shocked. Brock goes back and F5s the referee and Cena one more time to the tears of kids in the crowd. Was it the right call? I don't know. What I do know is no one really questions Cena's creative involvement in all of this. You know, everybody's so quick to point the finger and go, Triple H, you bald fraud, you
triple no.
Yeah, you know, and it's like, okay, I get it, but nobody is really pointing the finger because there's not a soul that would tell you any differently in terms of if John Cena wants it to go a certain way, they're gonna let John Cena do what he wants to do.
Yeah, I feel like if you go based off what we heard from the rumors, was as of Sunday or Saturday morning, Cena was supposed to be Brock. So I'm not sure what changed from that morning to that night, but it's just like, I think the problem is that it might be maybe a case of they know that Cena's like the ultimate company guy, so they know they could probably get away with more shit with him, because then it's just like, okay, guys, like, hey, if you think that's what's best for us, we'll do it.
And you
but
know, and John Cena's the first person to tell you. He actually said this in an interview, or CM Punk is the one that said it in an interview. It's a piece of advice he took from John Cena, is that you just play the hands that they deal you. Basically saying whatever they want you to do, just do it.
Yeah, so of all people, they know he's not going to complain.
Right.
So if that's the case, then they just know they're going to take liberties with him, because it's just like, well, he'll do it because it's Cena. He's the ultimate company guy. We can trust him. He trusts us, whatever. But if you could go back in time and tell people, hey, this is how Cena's retirement tour is going to play out so far, people would be fucking mortified. They think you'd be joking. They say, like, yeah, that's funny. That's not how it's supposed to go. This is what we're getting. I don't know how, as like, and that's what kind of just like continues to boggle my mind. You're Triple H, supposedly one of the most creative minds in the business, and blah blah blah, whatever. How do you fuck up Cena's retirement tour this badly? Like, first it was the heel turn. Then it was that shit main event for WrestleMania. And then it was the sudden, oh wait, we have to actually turn him good guy again because we realized we made a mistake. And then you do this. And supposedly, again, go off the rumors, take it with a grain of salt, there is no rematch. So you literally wasted an appearance by Cena and one of Cena's final matches to just get squashed by Lesnar for no reason whatsoever. Like, what's the fucking point? What are we doing here? This is kind of just embarrassing at this point, because this is what many consider the greatest of all time, and this is how you're going to treat him going out the door because you know he's not going to say no. That's kind of bullshit, I think.
Interesting. Yeah, I definitely want to know what changed going from Cena winning to Lesnar winning. Also, I wanted to know, when Lesnar was done his trilogy of matches with Cody Rhodes, remember those 3 matches that they had? Brock went in there and shook Cody's hand afterwards as a sign of respect before he went on his merry way. On this retirement tour, John Cena got nothing from Brock Lesnar, so maybe Brock doesn't like Cena?
Well, maybe the feeling's mutual, but I mean, I don't know. What I did catch, because I saw literally nothing from this match, and I'm probably better off for it, because I didn't give a flying fuck either way. So my favorite part of it was the sign in the back that fan had that says he shouldn't be here and we all know why.
Yeah.
And WWE felt the need to blur that out as if Twitter doesn't exist. So everybody knew what that sign said. And you know what? Props that fan for bringing it because you said the quiet part out loud. So props for them, but yeah, that was a waste of time, and that was supposed to counter Kyle Fletcher and Hangman Adam Page in the main event of All Out. Yeah, okay, sure.
Well,
That sure worked out well for you.
Yeah, well, I ended up giving the match 3.25 out of 5. Nothing. It was nothing special. I mean, he just went out there and he beat the shit out of Cena, and a bunch of kids were crying. So, you know, that's basically it right there for you. Brock Lesnar gets the meaningless win because, according to reports, that is it. There's not going to be a revision of Cena, Lesnar. They're not going to go back to it. They're not going to have a rematch. Basically, it's done and over with. No more John Cena, Brock Lesnar, which I am not complaining. I'm not one of these people that are like, I hate Brock Lesnar. Like, I don't viscerally hate him like you do, but I could do without him. I don't really need him. You know, he does nothing for me. You know, I don't get all crazy, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, moving on, there was a tag match. This one was pretty cool. It was the Vision, Braun Breaker, and Big Bronson Reed taking on the reuniting Usos, Jimmy and Jey Uso, with LA Knight being the special guest referee. And according to him, he's only worried about counting to 3 or watching the submission. He could care less about the rules. The Usos come out and their entrance was as long as Roman Reigns' WrestleMania special entrance. And the show is turning me into a cranky old man. Bronson Reed introduced a chair, but was admonished by the referee. But when Jimmy took the chair, LA Knight looked away. At a certain point, Braun Breaker brings in a chair that was intercepted by Jey. Breaker's back is so big and strong that when Jey whacks him with the chair, it ricochets off his back and cracks Jey in the head, causing him to leak blood profusely. Braun and Bronson are able to take advantage, spearing both men through a table. Then Reed follows it up with a tsunami for the win. This one felt like a Raw main event. I give it 3.5 out of 5 flames.
Yeah, that whole thing with Jey was kind of wild. That was the one thing I saw from this match, because when you watch that replay back, where it supposedly happens, it is so fast that you're like, did he actually hit himself? Because it didn't look like he did, because again, I guess the ricochet was just that fast. But yeah, if he doesn't have a concussion, I'm going to be very surprised.
No, apparently he did. Apparently they're following concussion protocol with him. So I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen anything of Raw, so I don't know if he was on Raw or anything like that. But I do know that they were following concussion protocol.
Yeah, as he should. I feel bad for him because that's just one of those freak accidents. I don't really think there could have been anything he could have done differently, because again, you watch the replay and you don't even see the impact. You see him swing at Breaker and all of a sudden he's bleeding. It's literally just like super fast motion or whatever. But yeah, and watching the videos after the match, it was not good either, because he's having a full-on anxiety attack. Jimmy's trying to calm him down. He can barely get to his feet. And it's just like, this is when you kind of look at it and go, you know what, maybe this pay-per-view is a little cursed. Who knows? But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about a dreaded curse might be happening.
It might be. It's just like everything seemed to not be going right up until that point. But
yeah, up until that point. But I will say, the next match definitely made up for it. It kind of reminded me, I don't know if you ever seen that clip of Gordon Ramsay, and he's doing one of his kitchen shows, and he sits down and they actually give him a meal that's actually pretty good. And he's like, finally some delicious fucking food. This is what I felt like when Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer came on the screen. I was like, finally some fucking good wrestling. So, and that's exactly what we got.
Yeah.
Going into this, you knew it had potential to steal the show, and boy, did it ever live up to the hype. The neat thing about this match was how evenly these two they matched up. They were real
Yeah.
even. At no point in the match did it look like one competitor had the upper hand over the other. What happened was Io got a little too overconfident, exposing her knees for added damage even after Vicaire hit her with 2 dragon screw leg whips. Io goes for the over the moonsault, but Stephanie moves out of the way. Io's knees crash into the mat, so she's all in pain. And then that allows Stephanie to climb the ropes. She hits a picture perfect corkscrew moonsault for the win.
I loved it.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful. People were saying they were calling it the spiral tap. AJ Styles says it's not the spiral tap. AJ Styles is the inventor of the moves, so I gotta go with the guy. But anyway, it was still a beautiful move, and the fact that she landed into the pinning position perfectly was just like chef's kiss. You know,
So good.
it was so good. She ends up winning the match. They both show a sign of respect to one another. She gets to celebrate with her dad, who's in the front row. This was just a great match. I might put this up there. If I was to make a long list of match of the year candidates, this would probably go up there.
From what I saw, I'd have to agree, because, yeah, I mean, this was one of those where you would have been shocked if they actually had a, shit match, because these two are just so fucking good that it was almost just a guarantee they were going to have a great match, and probably had the match of the night. I feel like there's really only one other match that obviously you'll get to in a minute that could have rivaled it, but I feel like that was definitely match of the night from what I could see. Yeah, that corkscrew moonsault, just Jesus, you could not have hit a better one. That was just so good. Yeah, and I think it's gonna be interesting now, because obviously we kind of had a feeling Stephanie was winning. It was almost a given, because we love Io, but she doesn't really need it right now, and
Right.
she kind of has her own issues with Asuka and them right now, and I'm very interested to see how they play into it, which, like we said, we don't know if they're doing anything on Raw right now, but I do like the fact that Asuka can very easily now go to Io and be like, see, I told you so. You said you didn't need any help.
Yeah.
And look what happened.
Yeah.
You lost.
And Io's the type of person, her mental state sometimes can be very questionable. So after coming off a loss, do you want to antagonize her like that, Asuka? You know, you might set her off, and then we can go off and running with an Asuka Io Sky program, which would be phenomenal. But very sad for Kairi Sane, who's really, I feel so bad for Kairi Sane. She just feels like the whipping boy, basically.
She's going through it. She's just going through it. She's playing the character well, though. I'll give her that. She's definitely playing her job correctly. But goddamn, it's just, I cannot wait to see Io and Asuka go at it, because this is what people have been really wanting for a very long time, and hopefully they don't fuck it up. But I mean, just putting those two in a ring, you almost don't even need a storyline. Just put them in there and let them make the magic. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens, because you're almost, like we said, it's almost a guarantee that Asuka's not going to be able to help herself. She's going to rub it in Ia's face, and it's probably not going to end well for her, but it's going to be entertaining for us.
For sure. Can't wait for it. Definitely can't wait for it. So moving on to the match that probably was the match that got everybody talking about this show, and it's the mixed tag match between Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch taking on CM Punk and the returning AJ Lee. AJ Lee coming back to the ring and getting in the ring for the first time in 10 years. So this is a big deal. Now, I'm not one who typically enjoys mixed tag matches, as I find them kind of creatively handcuffing when the women can only fight the women and the men can only fight the men. But I will say that this one was well done. They set up the hot tag to AJ perfectly as the crowd was waiting to see her in action for the first time in 10 years. I love how physical Becky got into this match to counter my point about it being creatively handcuffing. They weren't afraid to not necessarily blur the line, but they knew they had some liberties. So they took Becky Lynch, who's probably the most charismatic out of all of them, and put her in the predicaments where she was getting kind of scrappy with CM Punk, and she wasn't afraid to get in there and really go at him to the point where he had to put her in a sharpshooter. That was pretty cool. And yeah, so I actually really enjoyed Becky's participation in this match. I gotta say, she was definitely the MVP of the match. Now, at one point, the match moves to the commentary area where all four people are standing on both tables. To prevent her husband from getting hit with the GTS from CM Punk, Becky launches the body of AJ Lee into Punk, and the table explodes underneath. My favorite part was, as soon as that table hit the floor, CM Punk was checking on his wife to make sure that she was okay. The action moves back inside the ring where Becky tries to hit AJ with the manhandle slam. AJ counters the move into the Black Widow submission, just as you predicted. I knew you were waiting. I knew you were waiting for me to say that. I knew you were waiting for me to say it.
I was waiting. I was being patient, but thank you, AJ. I kept my title, so I'll take that. Thank you.
She puts her in the Black Widow, getting Becky to submit. Again, highly entertaining, perfectly executed tag match. I honestly, this had a very old school tag match feeling to it. They did one of my favorite spots where, you know, there's one person getting beat down for the past 10 minutes and they're trying to get the tag and they're constantly getting cut off. And finally, when they do get the tag, what happens? The referee is distracted and they don't see the tag, so they can't allow it. And it's like, you got to go back to your corner. I love that spot. That's one of my favorite spots in wrestling, and they pulled it off perfectly with AJ. You could tell people were just waiting for AJ to get in there and get taking bumps and get moving, and she looked great. She honestly looked like there was no ring rust on her. She looked like she could move in there. I'm really interested in seeing how much AJ Lee we're going to be getting in the next few couple of months and whatnot, and seeing what she could do, because she looked like she could go. She looked like she could go. I gave this match also a 4 out of 5, just like I gave Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer 4 out of 5 for both those matches. Both those matches were they were neck and neck for match of the night.
Yeah.
In terms of wrestling, I gotta go with Io Sky, Stephanie Vaquer. In terms of entertainment, the mixed tag match. So like I say in my notes at the end, this kind of had something. You know, if you're a wrestling fan, you were definitely into the women's match. If you wanted the entertainment, the mixed tag match had it for you.
Yeah, had it all. Yeah, it seemed pretty cool. I was especially happy about the ending for obvious reasons, but you know, I did find it very hilarious though that the current discourse about that match was Becky not selling the Black Widow correctly, and I'm like, you guys will literally take anything and try to ruin it, because it didn't look that bad. It really didn't. It's just like,
it didn't look bad.
That's what we're complaining about. It's like, oh well, if you saw how Seth took it and how Becky took it, it was two completely different, blah blah blah, whatever. And it's just like,
who gives a shit?
Okay, guys, like, sure. It's like whatever. I don't know, helps you sleep at night, I guess. It's just, please get a fucking life. But
who gives a
I
shit?
don't know. It's just funny that Becky's like, I didn't tap. If you can see, there was a B, and I had to like try and get rid of it. And I love how Jessica Carr even got into it, and she's like, Becky, stop, you tapped. Like, like does not give a shit. But yeah, it's just people will. It's just like, that's the one thing you're gonna take out of that match. Was the fact that, not the fact that AJ's back, not the fact that it was a good match, not the fact that she has no ring rust, it was the fact that Becky didn't sell the Black Widow correctly in your eyes, and this is why you guys don't work in sports entertainment, because you sure don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But
none of them know how to take a regular back bump, so I don't even, I don't even.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, okay, boss, you know what you're talking about. You
How about
know,
you get locked in the Black Widow and see how well you take it?
yeah.
But
Let's see if you bend over the right angle to take the Black Widow.
yeah, like
Yeah,
position your foot properly, and
yeah.
it's like, ah, shut the fuck up,
Eh,
like whatever. But yeah, it looked
and
like a pretty good match. I can't wait to see what AJ does from here. Can't wait to see what Punk does from here. It should be
yeah,
pretty interesting. So yeah, can't complain. It definitely looked I mean, to be fair, with what we got from the entire night, this and the women's title match were the two best matches of the night by
yep.
far, and it was not even close.
Yep. We also get a really cool moment. The Undertaker comes out as the American Badass to announce that Stephanie McMahon, who is sitting in the front row watching the show, is the first inductee into the 2026 WWE Hall of Fame class. To her
Very early.
her surprise, she did not know.
Yeah.
They pulled a fast one on her and dropped the announcement live, and she was there. And I thought that was a really cool moment. You see that she was really taken by that moment, and she was really touched by it. Honestly, there's so much discourse about the McMahons and the McMahon
Yeah.
family. A lot of people have a lot. I usually, more often than not, hear nice things about Stephanie McMahon more than I hear negative things about her.
Yeah, it's just like I mean, granted, the only thing that was like it was definitely quick. Like this is probably the quickest inductee
Yeah,
announcement
it
we've
is.
had, but usually you have to wait until the tickets go on sale first. But I mean, hey, whatever. I mean, I mean, it's again, she have her faults absolutely, but she pretty much has been like the quintessential women's heel for the last like however many decades in WWE. So I mean, why not? I mean, you might as well. And yeah, it was kind of cool that she had no idea because you kind of always assume they all, have a little bit of what's going on. So yeah, it was nice to see a actual surprise, and yeah, good for her.
Yes, good for her. Congratulations to Stephanie McMahon, the first inductee in the 2026 WWE Hall of Fame class. We won't know who, like you said, they just dropped this announcement. A very odd time to drop the announcement, but a nice, surprising announcement nonetheless. That leads us into the main event, and that is Cody Rhodes defending the undisputed WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre. And honestly, this was the quintessential, stereotypical Cody Rhodes match. A good guy, mega good guy, fighting valiantly, fighting from underneath most of the time, getting overpowered by the villain, which is Drew McIntyre in this point. And it was just Cody's matches follow a format, and it's a very
Yeah.
old school babyface champion format where if I can't have the struggle of chasing the championship because I already have the championship, I'll have the struggle in making the championship look like it's in jeopardy. So
Yeah. Yeah.
he's very good in match making the championship look like it's in jeopardy, like he could possibly lose. There was one point where he was going for a maneuver and he kind of had a little hitch in his giddy up and he kind of collapsed. I wonder if they're gonna make a story out of Cody, defending the title, being on Raw this week, and obviously probably going to be on SmackDown, filming a movie. Is the WWE champion being stretched a little too thin? I wonder if they're going to make a story out of that.
Oh, they will. It's just yeah, it's almost gets to the point of unless there's a gimmick involved, if you've seen a Cody Rhodes title match, you kind of seen all of them in a
Right.
way.
Yeah.
But I feel like the one thing I kept seeing, well, I know all over Twitter, people were like, something's got to happen. Like, there's got to be no clean finish. Something's got to happen. People were saying maybe Randy comes out and like cost Cody the title. Like, a lot of people were convinced Drew was winning this match, which
Mhm.
I could see it because there could be some like decent potential storylines coming from it. So I can understand that. So the fact that Drew lost clean was kind of weird. The part that really kind of stuck out to me, and it wasn't like due to it being bad, it was just stupid, was that whole thing at ringside when Drew was going to Claymore Cody's head through the announce table, and all of a sudden the ref decides, hey, you can't do that. Like, why are you doing disqualify him if he did it?
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of talked about it earlier where it's not so much the fact that happened, it was the fact that they drug it out so long that it became dumber and dumber as it went on, because all Drew had to do was just listen to the ref complain one time, shove him out of the way, try and do it anyway, and still miss it, fuck his leg up, whatever. But the fact that he just stood there and just let the ref go on and on and on about, hey, you can't do that, that's not legal, even though it really is,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't make any sense. It's just, this is that kind of shit that we kind of dog on the AEW refs for, because they are very good at making the refs in AEW look very stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Where at the end of the day, the ref's job isn't like to go out of the ring when both competitors are out of there. Last I checked, they're supposed to count to 10, and that's it. But now all of a sudden, we've kind of just gotten to this point where the refs can pick and choose when they want to count. They can pick and choose when they want to enter or exit the ring. So it's kind of silly sometimes, because if you're supposed to kind of go by what actual wrestling rules are, you're kind of breaking your own rules a little bit. But yeah, so that spot was a little silly to me. But other than that, it was all right. I think, again, most people were just expecting something to happen, and the fact that it didn't, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, that's how we're gonna end the show.
Yeah.
All right, I guess. It's just yeah, maybe they're kind of throwing a little too much on Cody, because, not to say you can't handle it, but a person can only take so much. And you can only not go off of sleep for so long when, it kind of takes a lot out of you. But yeah, it was just with the way this event as a whole was, the way it ended was just, kind of par for the course at that point, because it's just like, you know what, of course it would end like that, because that was just the theme of the show, was just
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. Drew McIntyre went to Claymore. Cody Rhodes' head through the announce table. Cody moves out of the way. Drew's leg goes through the table. He's got a bum leg. They re-enter the ring. Cody hits that double jump cutter and then hits the crossroads, gets the 1, 2, 3, and then Cody retains the WWE Undisputed Championship. I gave the match 3 3/4 flames. Like I said, I gave it 3 3/4 flames because it was a good old school wrestling match. The only detriment to it is that it's basically, like you said earlier, if you've seen one Cody Rhodes match, you're sort of seeing them all, and that's the kind of the pattern that we're seeing with Cody Rhodes. Overall, I thought Wrestlepalooza was an average show. I'm not as angry as everybody else on the internet. I didn't think it was horrible. I didn't think it was that great, noteworthy. It kind of just felt like a Saturday night's main event with a fresh can of paint on it. But other than that, like I said, we got Stephanie Vicaire and Io Sky and a pretty good mixed tag match with AJ Lee coming back after 10 years. So I'm satisfied. Throughout the entire headache of trying to get to watch this show, it was okay. It was okay. I don't know if it was worth it. Like I said, if it wasn't that the USA Network is the only thing that carries SmackDown, I probably wouldn't have a TV service. And people are going to be like, get a VPN. And I'm just like, watch. I'll get a VPN and use that. And then the one moment I get when I'm going to want to watch something on some TV, and it's just like, forget it. But anyway.
Well, it's like you also don't think that or WWE is going to be looking at the fact that people are using VPNs. They're not stupid. It's not going to last. Like, they're going to find a way to be like, nope, you can only watch it through these certain things. So don't be surprised, because, again, greed never stops. So I don't know. It's just if in hindsight, if that's what we were gonna get, like I said, I'm kind of just maybe I'm just glad I didn't have to watch it, because I would have been one of those where, like, I wasted all my night watching this. I mean, granted, if it was literally just the mixed tag match and and Stephanie, fine, perfectly fine. Give us literally that as a pay-per-view, you would have been golden. Just the fact that everything else around it was just kind of
It was
so average.
Yeah, it was very mid.
Yeah, so it's like maybe Triple H, you should just keep your mouth shut next time and not make it sound like the second coming of Christ.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't. And again, kind of turning into Tony Khan there, where it's like, God's just the boy who cried wolf, because how many times have we heard Triple H say this? Oh, we got all these surprises and you ain't seen nothing yet. That seems to be his favorite phrase. And it's just like, we're waiting for it, and we got really nothing. Like, if Stephanie getting inducted into the Hall of Fame and Paul Heyman announcing Brock Lesnar were your surprises, sure.
Yeah,
Great.
and what's with the 3-minute commercial ad breaks during a PLE? That was crazy. That was crazy. It was 3 minutes.
It's dumb. It's just like, it's again like
3 minutes.
Another one of those where I'm like, I'm not gonna spend all that money to have to sit through a pay-per-view where literally after the end of every match, 3-minute fucking ad, as if YouTube's not bad enough, or it's every 2 seconds they're running a 40-second ad. It's like, it's a pay-per-view. That's what you're supposed to pay for to not have.
Yes.
So it's like, you guys just don't know when to stop, do you? And clearly it's not gonna get any better. So yeah, Twitter's gonna be a fun thing for me when these pay-per-views come out, because yeah, this bullshit's not worth it for me.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But we also had one other show happen on that Saturday. I'm telling you, we had a busy day of wrestling. It was AEW All Out, coming from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And you know what? Honestly, this one, like the amount of matches, there were a lot of matches on the card, but it honestly felt like it was kind of a breeze through. But we'll get into it right away here. Starting off hot. They start off hot with this one. Yeah. They started off with Adam Copeland and Christian Cage taking on FTR, the hometown boys coming home. They had a nice little intro with Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys, which was hilarious.
Poor mom had no idea. She's like, what is this? I'm like, I am.
Trailer Park Boys is it's a very interesting show. You have to have a certain type of humor to get it. Like, it's a weird show, but I find it hilarious.
I thought it was funny that he also brought out his favorite, like, Toronto Maple Leafs player.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
Wendell Clark. That was pretty cool too.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, you know, if you're a Maple Leafs fan, cool, but I'm just like, okay, cool, whatever. I'm like, yeah, but it's just like, you know what, as long as it's something, it was funny. But yeah, I'm just glad I can actually give my actual 2 cents into this now. I'm actually back in the show, guys. I can actually participate.
Here we go.
Now.
Well, let's talk about this one. Dax is coming into this match with a broken nose. Copeland, during the match with the homage to John Cena, sent the crowd into a frenzy, which was really cool. And then later on in the match, Beth Phoenix, now known as Beth Copeland, neutralizes Stoke by taking him out with a spear and carrying him to the back. There was a big near fall after FTR uses the ring bell, then hits a pile driver. I was really enjoying the stretch of near falls until the end. Copeland takes 2 Shatter Machine moves from FTR and is somehow able to hit a mediocre spear out of the corner to get the win. The finish came with no drama. Nothing. Just a spear and boom, we're done. I gave the match 3 1/4 flames out of 5. I wish I could have gave it higher.
Yeah, unfortunately, this kind of started for at least a few of these matches the very odd trend of having endings. There were quite a few of these matches where it's just like, guys, it's really not that hard to end a match. Like, it really shouldn't be this bad, but unfortunately we did not see the end of it after this one. But yeah, it was pretty good. Again, a good opener. Glad to see Beth show up again, kick the shit out of Stokely, and then just got the shit kicked out of her herself afterwards, but we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, it was not. Anyone that was expecting this to be a high octane kind of match had no idea what these two teams were. So the fact that they could set the pace and it wasn't out of place, everything, it took their time, got the crowd going with the right moves, picked it up when they needed to. It's just like, this is pretty much a textbook match between these two teams, because you shouldn't have expected anything less. But yeah, the ending, goddamn. Like I said, I also wanted to rate, I'm going to give it 3.5 until the ending. And it's like, that was just kind of out of nowhere. It was just weird. So I also gave it 3 1/4 flames, but a pretty decent start to the show.
For sure. After the match, Nick Wayne and Mother Wayne come out to distract Copeland and Christian. They get jumped from behind by FTR, and Kip Sabian hits the ring to handcuff Copeland to the ropes. FTR drop both Christian and Beth with spike pile drivers, while Copeland can do nothing but watch. So we're definitely not seeing the end of this situation with Copeland and FTR. Christian said, "Hey, you helped me out with my Kip Sabian problem and Nick Wayne problem. I help you out with your FTR problem." But at what point does he go, "Hey, I helped you out this one time, and then I ended up getting dropped on my neck"? So,
Yeah,
you know,
I also feel like too. I don't know if you kind of noticed this too. I would have expected Copeland to be a little bit more animated watching your wife get dropped on her neck. It was almost just like, dude, your wife got fake paralyzed essentially from a move. You think you'd have a little bit more emotion in there because we've seen him get more animated before. So the fact that he was so like toned down was very weird to me, but that was just a little nitpick that I noticed. But I'm just like, dude, come on, like act it up a little bit more. Like we know you can act. I've been in shows before, dude. Like do something, show us something. But no, it was you kind of knew it wasn't going to be the end this match. So I mean, if we get more of this feud, I wouldn't complain because they're two very good teams. But yeah, I agree with you where Christian's still an asshole and that selfishness is going to show up at some point where it's just like, I'm tired of getting beat up because of you, so I'm not doing this anymore. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, maybe we'll see Beth again. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where this one goes. But yeah, very surprising start to the show, at least with the ending of the match.
definitely, for sure. So I'm interested in seeing what they're going to go on and do going forward from here. Next up, we had Big Bill take on Eddie Kingston. Kingston comes back to a huge raucous reaction from the crowd. Kingston had an early flurry of offense that got snuffed out by Bill. Camera missed the initial back fist Kingston hit Bill with, which led to Bill kicking out at one and no selling the move. Eddie catches Bill running into the corner with the boot. And then as Bill is on one knee, Kingston hits him with the back fist, where you hear Tony Schiavone clearly say he missed.
Yeah.
Kingston goes for the pin off the missed back fist and gets the win. Finish was kind of a dud, so I only gave it 3 out of 5. But that was that was the funniest thing, where you could just clearly hear Tony Schiavone go, "He missed."
And yet, still won. But
man. AEW, I love you so much.
It was a curse of the endings in this pay-per-view, let me tell you. Because just when you thought that was bad enough, it continued, and some of the others still. But poor Eddie, like that's God. No one's gonna remember the actual. Well, I mean, to be fair, no one's really gonna remember the match itself because it was okay. I mean, it wasn't gonna be a 5-star classic anyway. But that ending, just Eddie, I feel so bad for him. That's what your return got. I mean, it was already kind of annoying because we talked about the fact that it shouldn't have been like spoiled anyway. They should have just had Eddie show up regardless. But clearly that wasn't going to happen. It was a moot point, but it was almost just like that was just the icing on the cake of like, you spoiled the return and then this is what you get for the ending instead. So that's fine, I guess. But yeah, I also gave it 3 because poor Eddie. I just feel bad. Poor Eddie, man. Like, dude can't catch a break. Comes back and does that. Not of his own fault. It was just the fact of, if you're gonna miss it, just hit him again with it. No one's gonna really think twice about it. But
oh man,
you gotta laugh about it because it's just like, what the fuck. But
he missed. Anyway,
he missed.
After the match, Kingston gets jumped by Brian Keith, which led to the lights going out and Hook coming in to make the save for a nice moment. I personally would love to see an Eddie Kingston and Hook tandem. I think that would be a lot of fun, and I think that's the direction that they're going.
Yeah, and then you have to wonder how the ops are going to factor into it too, because Hook was kind of pissed at them for leaving him in the dust, and then I'm sure Samoa Joe's going to be a little annoyed because it's just like, hey, I thought we were still going to try and work this out, and now here you go going with some other team. So, there may be some drama in there. Why not? And Eddie's sure going to make things worse because he can't keep his temper in check. So it'll be interesting. But I will say I got a little confused because I forgot Hook's song's new. So at first I'm like, who the fuck is this? I'm like, oh, it's Hook. Never mind. But yeah, New York kids got to stick together, I guess.
There you go. Exactly right. New York kids got to stick together. Next up, tables surround the ring for our next match, along with giant buckets of thumbtacks in each corner of the ring, because we have a tables and tacks match between MJF and Mark Briscoe. This is the first ever tables and tacks match, and man, they did not play when it came to these thumbtacks. The bell rings and MJF bails out of the ring. Briscoe empties out all of the buckets and the canvas is absolutely covered in tacks. Beautiful
shoes.
Yeah. Bryce Rensburg's shoes was just on the bottom. It was just all tacks at one point, which was kind of funny because those probably could have made it very easy to slip. You know?
Oh yeah, you could see their boot. Everybody's feet were slipping. I'm like, please don't blow your legs out for this, please. But
yeah, it was crazy. There was I loved it though because it was beautiful drama surrounding who was going to hit the tacks first. It was very basic. You know, whose back was going to hit those tacks first. Everybody was like, ooh and ah, and it would get close and then somebody would not take the bump and then they would get close. It was great. I loved it. The crowd was really into it, watching Briscoe take the first fall into the pool of tacks. Briscoe obviously is the first to leak in the match. There's a certain point of the match where you wonder if MJF is ever going to fall victim to the tag pain because he kept figuring out ways to get out of moves where he wouldn't take any tag damage. When MJF finally does feel pain, the crowd erupts. From here, it's just a grotesque showing of tacks and grimacing moves. Briscoe hits two froggy bows through a sea of tacks, then for good measure drops MJF with the nasty J Driller for the surprising win. The violence certainly isn't for me, but there's something neat about a crowd watching every single move because every single move is coming with some major consequence. So I like the grotesque nature of the thumbtacks and the blood. Not for me. Obviously, we know this already, but I did enjoy that psychological nature of the match where everybody was waiting to see who's going to fall victim and who's going to hit the hardest on these tacks. I gave the match 3.5 flames out of 5.
I also gave it 3.5 because it's always tough to kind of judge these like gimmick matches because you know you're not going to get a 5-star like match of the year contender for the most part.
Right.
It's always just going to be who's going to inflict the most damage and have the biggest like moments. So you kind of just have to go off of entertainment wise, which I mean, I don't mind the violence. I mean, there's at some points where I can do without like getting stabbed with forks and whatnot, but that gets a little squeamish. I get a little squeamish sometimes, but this one wasn't. I wasn't squeamish in this one, but I definitely cringed a lot because it's just like, god damn, when you have the kind of match that has a crowd hanging on every single solitary move, because a regular like back bump slam is not gonna really do anything. When you put a bunch of tacks on there, it's gonna hurt a little extra, and just the visuals of the tacks sticking out of people's skin, it's just I can't. But you know what? You and I feel very vindicated because we both picked Briscoe for this one because we said just give it to him, and you know what, make it a surprising thing, and we felt pretty smart afterwards. So
I did too. I thought that was going to be a little iffy. Somebody was going to call me crazy, but it actually worked out in our favor.
Yeah, high five to us. We knew what we were talking about. But,
exactly. We know what we're talking about. Putting that on the next T-shirt.
We know what that's on the back of it. We know what we're talking about. But yes, I also gave it 3.5 because it was definitely not a wrestling clinic, but it was very entertaining and at the same time. So, got to give it that.
For sure. All right, next up, we had a trios match. The Hurt Syndicate in full effect. MVP joining Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin to take on Ricochet and the Gates of Agony. Ricochet and the Gates of Agony will now be known as The Demand. As for the match, this one would have been better on Dynamite or Collision. Uh,
Yeah.
MVP seemed like the man with something to prove, taking up a ton of time in the ring. Shelton and Bobby get wiped out on the outside, leaving MVP to fight alone in the ring. MVP puts up an effort, but gets his knees clipped from behind and then set up for a spirit gun from Ricochet. The Demand get the win to the sound of absolute crickets.
No one
Again,
gave a fuck.
no one gave a fuck. Again, not a bad match, but a dud by pay-per-view standards. So I gave this one 3 out of 5.
Yeah, we always say if it doesn't move you, it stays the same. So I got 3 because we even called this when we did the predictions. We're like, to be fair, it really didn't matter who won because I don't even remember who we picked. I think did we pick Ricochet and them or did we pick the Hurt Syndicate? I don't even remember.
Let me see. Let me pull out the predictions here.
I feel we might have picked Ricochet and them, but I can't remember.
We picked the Hurt Syndicate.
Oh well. Either way, it really wasn't gonna matter who won this match because it shouldn't have been on the card to begin with. And we always just hope that we get pleasantly surprised by one of these matches that we always say, oh well, this shouldn't be on the card, this should be on like a Dynamite or Collision, and we kind of just I don't know, at least for me, I don't know about you, but subliminally in the back of your mind, you kind of hope that, well, I'd like to be wrong about that. And I mean, because we'll admit we're wrong if we're like, yeah, we didn't think this was supposed to be a pay-per-view match, and it was actually a pretty good match.
Oh, for sure.
This was not one of those because it was just like, I mean, it wasn't a terrible match. That's the worst part. It's just no one fucking cared about it. Like that was the thing. It's just like, okay, it's a thing. People still really don't care about Ricochet. They really don't care about the Gates of Agony, and I don't know what the heck's going on with the Hurt Syndicate right now, but yeah, it was a match, and it happened, and it ended, and yeah, I gave it 3 because I was not paying attention much toward it because it wasn't really grabbing my attention. So it was there.
It was there. It happened. Like I said, dud by pay-per-view standards, probably better suited on a Dynamite or Collision. But I can't say that about the next match that we had. It was for the TBS Championship where Mercedes Moné defended the title against Riho, the inaugural AEW Women's Champion. And what a fantastic contest from both women. This one for me was a lot of fun to watch. Riho took Mercedes to the limit, targeting her knees and midsection, making it hard for Moné to breathe. Great back and forth pace, no hiccups or weird spots. Riho took it to Moné so much that Moné had to resort to underhanded tactics to finding an opening to hit the Moné Maker for the win. Best match of the night to this point. I gave it 3 3/4 flames out of 5.
All right, this is gonna be the one time where we differ a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. 3.5 because
Okay.
I feel like going into it, we expected to be at the very least a decent match.
Right.
This because everybody involved, Riho's great. Mercedes has finally gotten into the actual this is what we've been waiting for mode for a while now. So we're like, okay, this should be a pretty good match. However, I feel like it could have been better. It wasn't terrible. It was still a pretty good match, but I feel like they could have kicked it into another gear and it just never happened. And I don't know why. I feel like I don't know. Would it have changed if it was on like Dynamite or Collision? I think it still would have had the same effect, honestly. I just feel like they're both just so good that I guess you just expected more, maybe. Again, maybe that was just me, but no, it was still a good match. Definitely push Mercedes to the limit, and when heels are pushed to the limit, what are they going to do? They're going to cheat. So you rake the eyes, you hit the Monet Maker or whatever it's called. I think it's called. I don't remember. Just the thing, and
The thing.
the thing, yeah. And but yeah, it wasn't bad. It's just I feel like they could have done more. I don't know what, but I just feel like there's just something I couldn't put my finger on of like they could have put that into another gear, but still a pretty good match. It's kind of sad though that that had to be the best match of the night so far because everything before it kind of. So yeah, I gave it 3.5. Still pretty good. We knew Mercedes wasn't losing that title. And now it just kind of turns into who the hell is going to beat Mercedes for that title, but we still don't have that answer.
No, we do not. So it's interesting to see who's next in line to go after the TBS Championship and Mercedes Moné. So moving on, we had a three-way match for the AEW Unified Championship where Kazuchika Okada defended the title against Konosuke Takeshita and Mascara Dorada. And honestly, the one thing I could take away from this match was that this was a great showing from Dorada, who could have easily been an afterthought in this entire match, because the money is definitely in Okada versus Takeshita.
Absolutely.
The people want it. They need to see this match. They need to figure out a way to make this match happen. Just Takeshita, Okada, because that's what the people want. And if you're trying to make money, you got to give the people what they want. Isn't that what Excalibur says? You got to give the people what they want. Give them this match right here. If you want to make money, give them this match right here. The final stretch where Okada caught Takeshita with the drop kick, then finished things off hitting Dorada with the Rainmaker, was some beautiful stuff in my eyes. I also gave this one 3 3/4 flames out of 5.
Yeah, this one was definitely, I think, this one up to this point was the match of the night. I think like Mercedes and Riho was good, but then I feel like this one was just a little bit better. I like the fact that, obviously, like you said, for one, whoever doesn't agree with this is probably lying just to save face. They probably saw Dorada and was like, ah, please, he's going to take the pin. This is just like, he's just filler. He's not going to really do much. But boy, did they actually show that he belonged in that match. And for as much as we rag on Okada with like the pacing of his matches, because that always seems to be like the big through line with him, is just the match is good, but the pacing is always just so slow. It didn't feel like it with this match. It felt like there really wasn't any moment where it felt like there was a lull or anything, unless, like, I don't know, and they had like the occasional like submission hold here and there, but that's just in a nutshell. You're going to slow the pace down for that. But other than that, though, it kind of seemed like it was pretty steady throughout. There wasn't any like boring moments as far as I can remember. And just Takeshita and Okada, it's just, we need that match just one-on-one, because
need it.
Oh, we need it. It's so good.
The people need it.
The people need it, but you know what? That is there's definitely no knock on Dorada, because that was a star-making moment for him, because he was really good. He had his moments to shine. Everybody had their moments to shine, which was good, because that's always the issue you possibly run into with these multi-person matches, is that somebody's going to look out of place, but no, they all fit in there perfectly. Still was hoping Takeshita would take it, but god damn it, it still hasn't happened yet. But one of these days, though, one of these days, it's going to happen, hopefully soon, because I want that drama within the Don Callis family, but no. But up until this point, it was definitely my favorite match of the night. I also gave it 3 because it was just that damn good.
Damn, all right. So we're pretty much lockstep with each other. Hopefully that's the case with this next match. It is Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley in a coffin match. This one started out hot, then died down, and then Darby broke out a fork.
The fork. Fucking fork.
The fork. There was a point where Danielson on commentary slid Darby a duffel bag which contains plastic bags used to suffocate your opponent. Darby gets the upper hand, choking out Mox with the bag and then sending him into the coffin. Before Darby could close the lid and win the match, Pac makes a shocking return to help out Moxley. Pac hits Darby with an over-the-top rope powerbomb onto the lid of the coffin, onto the outside. Pac traps Darby inside of a body bag and puts him in the coffin. Mox uses his boot to slam the lid shut and win the match. Death Riders in full force come out and Paul Bearer the coffin away from ringside. This match was okay. I could do without the blood and the gore, so I gave this one 3.5 out of 5 flames. The fork and the ear thing, I'm so good on that.
I don't like it. Like it is, it just creeps me out.
Yeah. I'm so good on that. So yeah, like I said, if I could do without the blood and gore, you know, other than that, the match was okay. It was entertaining.
I mean, you kind of expect it with these two though, because it's almost like you have to like force them not to bleed or do something dumb. So it was kind of just an inevitability that something like that was going to happen. So I wasn't surprised, but the ending is again, it's just these endings in some of these matches is just so like anticlimactic. And the thing that kind of got me, and I don't know if you noticed this, was the fact that Pac was almost about to shut the coffin
Yeah.
until Moxley realized, oh yeah, I have to do it, and that's when he used his foot. But it was just like, ah, okay, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah, again, these endings in some of these matches just killed me because it's like the match itself wasn't bad, but I don't know. It's pretty much just a typical Darby Allin John Moxley match to a T. It didn't really surprise us. It didn't really blow us out of the water. Kind of delivered what we expected it to, which was cringy moments of, oh, I didn't want to see that, or why are you sticking a fork through someone's ear? But that's just how it is with them, so it's fine. But yeah, I gave it 3.5 as well because it was entertaining enough, but these endings, these endings. That's just the theme of most of, not all, but most of this pay per view was just these endings.
Yeah.
Just what is going on?
All right, yeah. So moving on, for the AEW Women's World Championship, we had Toni Storm defending the title against Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander, and Tekla in a four-way match. And this was a fun match where all the competitors got time to shine. It was hard-hitting and well-paced with no clumsiness. Amongst all the chaos back in the ring, Chris Statlander traps Toni Storm with a backpack pin and gets the most shocking win of the night. I gave it 3.5 flames out of 5. This was pretty good. I enjoyed this match, and by the end of it, I had my mouth open like, oh my God, did that just really happen?
You and me both, and to say I was fucking excited at the same time was an understatement because everyone knows I love stats. So the fact that she pulled that off was just, it was insane. Like, good on Tony for pulling through with an actual genuine shock moment of the night. Because I feel like really the only other like shocking outcome was maybe Briscoe beating MJF,
Right.
but to us it wasn't really surprising. We kind of called it, but that you could have. I was never going to expect that. I thought Tony was going to find some way to pull it through. I thought she was going to barely escape with that title, and then we'd have to once again go, who the hell's next to beat her? But oh, it's kind of like, because then you're like, oh shit, she used Yuta's move because he showed up right at the beginning, and it's like, could you just get the hell out of here? Nobody wants to see you. But now he can come back and say like, hey, see, I told you, you use this move. Look what happened. Now you have the titles. Maybe you owe something, which I hope's not the case. Please leave her alone. But it's also interesting because she's now the first woman in AEW history to have both or hold both the AEW Women's World Championship and the TBS titles. So Stat has that distinction, which good for her. Again, I am very excited. I'm excited to see where this one goes. You know, inevitably you're gonna have a showdown with her and Willow at some point, and I'll be excited for that one. But it was just like, it was so funny how they kind of like flipped that whole thing with Tony on its head, because what was the one thing that she kept saying over and over again? She was a woman in search of her death. And did she really die though? Because that really is not so much of a death, I don't think. It was kind of like a, well, everybody was expecting it, and then, oh, that's how it ends? Not in a bad way though. That's like, oh, so that's how the death happens, even though I think maybe Tony was kind of just searching for that like high she had with Mariah, possibly, where that was definitely a death. That match was a death for sure. So maybe she was kind of like expecting, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to die that way again, and that's not what happened. And I liked how on the pre-show that I didn't know was the wrong pre-show. I don't know if you fell for that same trap
I
too.
did too. I did
Oh, I was
too.
so fucking pissed about. Oh god, I was so mad about that. The one time you put it on cable TV and you don't even. Maybe it was our fault for not waiting.
I was like watching it, and then I'm like, well, okay, the pay-per-view starting in 5 minutes, and I'm like, wait, wasn't there supposed to be some matches that were supposed to be happening? And then I looked, and I'm like, okay, I'm not on the AEW YouTube page, I'm on the Amazon Prime page. So I go to the AEW YouTube page, and the matches are just wrapping up.
I was so pissed because we're sitting there, and I kind of like looked at Mom, and I'm like, where is everybody? Because I think at the point we were watching it, it was like 20 minutes before the show started, and I'm like, where's everybody? And then we're like, oh, maybe they like pre-taped it or something. But I'm like, wait, why would they pre-tape the pre-show? That doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, hold on. And so I looked and I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. It was on cable this whole time, whatever. So I was mad. So I didn't get to see any of the pay-per-view or the pre-show matches, which whatever. But when we were watching the fake pre-show, they were talking about the women's title match. And the biggest thing they kept harping on was, well, I don't think Stat's fully focused. This isn't her time. It's just not going to be it for her. So maybe that was the sign. But it was also, I think RJ kind of touched on the fact of Tony keeps saying she's a woman in search of her death. And, you know, she doesn't really make a lot of missteps, or she doesn't really make a lot of mistakes. So what if this is going to be the time that it finally catches up to her?
Mm.
And lo and behold, it finally did, because I get it. She wanted something more. She wanted competition. And so she's just like, fine, give me all three of these women who deservedly. And it was a good match. I just felt bad for it being right after the coffin match. So it wasn't in a great spot. But everybody had their time to shine. It's like, you were expecting hard hitting with all four of them, especially. So I was enjoying it. I felt like the crowd could have gotten into it a little bit more. Again, I think that was just more for placement on the card's sake. But Tony made that one little mistake, and it wasn't even the match itself. It was just the fact that she made that match in the first place. That was her. That was her death. It wasn't exactly the match itself. It was just the fact that she called it and she wanted it. So who knew that she was a woman in search of her death, and she died by her own hand. So
Yeah,
such is a tragedy of Tony Storm, I guess.
very interesting way to look at it. Because I definitely wasn't expecting Tony Storm to lose this match, despite the odds not being in her favor with three other competitors in there. Everybody looked good. Tekla looked good. Jamie Hayter looked good. Obviously, Stat, who ends up winning the match, looked great. So the match was really good. I'm interested in seeing where they're going to go forward from here. What's going to happen with Tony Storm? Is she instantly going to get a rematch to try to get back her title? Or is she going to maybe take some time off and then make a surprise return? Very interesting to see what's going to happen with Timeless Tony Storm.
Yeah, and then you have to think about what's going to happen with everyone else. What's Jamie do from here? I mean, I'm sure Tekla's just going to go back to the triangle, but what are they going to do?
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting, but as a Stat fan, I am doing pretty good. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I bet you are. Well, moving on, we have a 4-way ladder match for the AEW tag team titles, where Brodito were defending the titles against the Young Bucks, Jet Speed, and Josh Alexander and Hechicero of the Don Callis family. This one took a little bit of time to get going for me. Once Speedball hit the double knees moonsault on the ladder through Hechicero, then things really got going. From there, it was a mad dash to see who could get to the top of the ladder and grab the titles fast enough. After Bandito wipes out Josh Alexander and Hechicero with the ladder, he's able to climb the ladder and retrieve the titles. Brodito retain the AEW tag team titles. This is basically everything you would expect in a tag team ladder match. Crazy spots, crazy crashes, a lot of fun, very entertaining. I gave it 3 3/4 flames out of 5.
Yeah, this one was. We always say this about these AEW ladder matches. It is absolute chaos in every sense of the word, but it wasn't too chaotic enough where you're like, okay, well, I can't like pay attention to what's going on because so much shit's happening. I love that spot where everybody's going through a table, and then Brody hits Speedball with Dante's Inferno on the. Jesus Christ, everybody's and Speedball definitely sold it the way he should have, because he was dead and never came back. And yeah, it was so much fun. There were times where I thought Young Bucks were gonna win, and I'm like, please don't. Like, don't do this already, because I was worried they were kind of like gonna go away from the whole like Young Bucks being poor and whatever too quickly. I felt like they still have some legs with that, but glad that they didn't end up doing that. They didn't fall for that trap. Good for Brodito to keep those titles. I mean, we're big Brody King fans, so we're never gonna complain about him holding on to a title. I'm a little more interested though in what happened after the match. Obviously, I actually gave it 3.5. It was pretty good. But but just compared to some of the other high quality matches on the night, it just wasn't right up there, at least for me, but still really good. So I gave it 3.5. But what happened after the match, though, was I think what everybody wants to talk about because boy, was that a surprise.
For sure, for sure. After the match, the Young Bucks are confronted by Jungle Jack Perry. Jack Perry is back. Perry tries to fight the Young Bucks on his own, but is quickly overwhelmed. Just before the Young Bucks hit Perry with the BTE trigger, the lights go out and a video of Perry reviving Luchasaurus is shown. When the lights come back on, Luchasaurus is standing in the middle of the ring waiting to take out the Young Bucks. After taking out the Young Bucks, Perry and the dinosaur hug. Jungle Express is back.
It's so great. It's so great. I will say though, I was a little like confused though, because didn't we kind of revive Luchasaurus? I mean, technical kill switch if we're being technical here, but it was almost like kind of did this a little bit ago when, with Nick Wayne and them. So I'm like, it was a little odd, but whatever, we'll let it happen. But yeah, we got Jurassic Express back. We got the song back. Never thought we'd hear that song again. So the crowd was into it. They were having a good old time dancing around and everything. And I'm interested to see this new version of Jurassic Express. Is it going to be not as kind of like the whole kid-friendly thing like they started out with? I have a feeling it's probably going to be a little more edgy, possibly. I feel like it would probably benefit them because I feel like both of them kind of going back to the originals would kind of do a disservice to both of them because they've grown as characters since then. So I would like to see a little more edge to them. And yeah, I'm excited to see them back in the tags division because they were always so good. It was always just, I think, yes, they were popular, but I just think that kind of character team they had kind of held them back a little bit because they were good, but it was almost just like they could be great, but it was almost, again, a little too family friendly. But this new version of them I'm excited to see because I feel like it'll be a little more edgier, or a little edgier, and I think a little more entertaining. So I'm excited.
I am too. I'm interested in seeing how this new Jungle Express is going to work. With a new Jack Perry, a more grown up Jack Perry.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. We're taken backstage with the Death Riders and the coffin containing Darby Allin. Moxley instructs the rest of the Death Riders and the cameraman to take off. Suddenly, Darby emerges from the coffin with a pipe and takes out Moxley. Darby traps Moxley in a body bag and seals Moxley in. Darby soaks the bag in some sort of chemical from an aerosol can and lights it on fire. Oh my God.
Why not?
Thankfully, there were people backstage to quickly put out the fire and pull Darby away. Wild scene. He successfully lit Jon Moxley on fire. I don't think there was a way you could do a fancy camera cut or a CGI or anything like that. That was definitely Moxley in that body bag getting lit on fire.
Well, and I feel like they did it properly too because I heard somebody saying, it was on Twitter after the fact, they were like, so now that we're inevitably going to see more like body bag spots on the indies, please do it that way. Don't zip them up the full way and then try to light them on fire. And I'm like, yeah, because if you really want to suffocate them, that's a way to do it. So maybe don't, or just know how to do it properly. And they did it properly. The thing that kind of got me though was this kind of reminded me of when Tekla and Queen Aminata brawled for the entire pre-show, only to come back halfway through the pay-per-view last time. And it's just like, so you guys were fighting for the last 2 hours, and now you're remembering you have to still... It's kind of like that whole thing again, where I'm like, okay, you guys, what were you guys doing for the last, like, hour? Just, like, parading him around the backstage like a funeral service? Is that what we were doing? So, I don't know why they've continue to do that. Is kind of odd timing wise, but yeah, I mean, it was cool. I thought it was, but it was also just like, god damn, we just lit somebody on fire. But if anybody was gonna say okay to that besides Darby Allin, it was gonna be Jon Moxley. So as usual, weren't really surprised that that's what happened. But
not at all.
That's what we get now. If that's what we get now, I can't imagine what they're gonna do. Are they gonna like hit somebody with a car maybe? Because I mean, Darby's been hit by a car before, so that wouldn't be a surprise, but if that's what they're going to do to Moxley, I can't imagine what Moxley's going to do in return. So I'm a little nervous, to say the least.
Very true. I didn't think about it that way. What's the retaliation going to be from Moxley and the Death Riders, including their newest member, Daniel Garcia? Going to be very interesting to see. But that takes us to the main event of the evening, and it is for the World Heavyweight Championship, where Hangman Page is defending the title against the Proto Star, Kyle Fletcher. Now, there's a couple of caveats in this match. No interference from the Don Callis family, and if any member of the Don Callis family interferes in this match, Kyle Fletcher loses the TNT Championship. So he had to play this one very carefully. Now, the story surrounding this match as it went on was Kyle Fletcher targeting the neck of Hangman Page, which was wrapped in kinesio tape. I always say when they have that kinesio tape, it's kind of like a bright flashing light that says, "Hit me here. This is where I hurt the most."
Exactly.
You know, so that was the story of the match, and this was smart as it made Kyle look ready to be in this position, that position being the main event. The referee was being extra lenient in this match, watching Hangman drop Fletcher with a dead eye through the table. Hangman was hitting some of the nastiest dead eyes in this match I have ever seen. We almost had a production mishap as they finished showing a replay just in the nick of time for Hangman to hit the buckshot lariat and get the win. For Kyle,
so
it was close. I was like, oh no, that's the last thing this show needs. But they were able to show it, and they had a cool camera angle for it. It was kind of over the top, so you got to see sort of a top view of the buckshot lariat connecting and Hangman getting the win. Now, for Kyle Fletcher, this was a fine showing in the main event and showed he should consistently be in the main event conversation. But for Hangman Page, this would be up there as a fine Dynamite or Collision main event. I gave it 3 3/4 flames out of 5.
shockingly, I also gave it 3 3/4 flames. It was a very good ending. That match definitely. We always talk about the pacing, and we always talk about, is it out of place or is it too slow, too fast? This was like they knew exactly when to hit the fast lane. They knew when they hit that extra gear at the right time. The crowd was eating out of their hands. It's just that production. I was like, we were seconds away from disaster at that point. That was gonna be. Oh, this could have been a completely different conversation you and I actually happened, but thankfully it didn't. So there was that. But yeah, I mean, we kind of expected Fletcher to rise to the occasion. You just kind of hold your breath a little bit to be like, God, I hope he's ready and he doesn't look like a fish out of water. And he didn't. He looked really good, but I like that point you made too, where this was great for Kyle, but for Adam, it was almost just like, yeah, it was just another day at the office for him.
It kind of felt that way.
Yeah, it like wasn't spectacular, but it also wasn't like terrible. It was just kind of what you expect. So I'm not mad at it. It was a great end of the show. Definitely better than what was starting on the other programming at the same time. So I'd say they definitely won that one a little bit. But yeah, I definitely couldn't complain. Great end of the show, and it showed that you don't always have to have the Don Callis family interfere in every single fucking match. Imaginable. So that maybe that'll play into the Don Callis family drama at some point. Kyle might be like, look, I didn't need you, and I mean, maybe they could flip that a little bit and have Callis be like, well, if you had my help, then, maybe you shouldn't have agreed to not have any of us at ringside. We could have helped you. You could have won, and I don't know. I just want drama. I just want the drama with them. It'll just be fun because they keep adding so many people to the family that if we know anything about family is that there's so I kind of want to see it implode. At some point it has to, but yeah, good for Kyle. We knew he'd rise to the occasion, and I'm glad he did. I can't wait to see more of him in the main event scene because you're kind of doing a disservice to him to not continue to show him or showcase him in the main event scene. So you kind of have to now.
Yeah, you don't want him to kind of fall off of that momentum and suffer getting into the lower card with anything else. So it's definitely interesting how they're going to handle Kyle Fletcher going forward, because like I said, his showing showed that he can be a main event player. So definitely, and this is something I said about the end of the show. All in all, I would say this was one of AEW's better pay-per-views. It was nothing too crazy and had a little bit of something for everyone. Considering that there were no heavy hitters like Swerve, Ospreay, and Omega, this was a great effort by all involved to put on a good show. So I gave it a B-. I don't know about you.
I gave it a B. Yeah, it was. I mean, I'm actually. Never mind. I'm changing that. I'm definitely going B-. Could have been a B or a B+, but those endings just.
Right.
Some of those endings did not do that show justice, which is and I feel like it wasn't so much the fact that the endings happened, it was just the fact that so many of them happened, where apparently there's just the wrestling world in a nutshell on Saturday night was just kind of cursed in a way, because there were just some endings that it was just way too many odd endings for a whole week or a whole 2 shows worth of matches. So it happens. We have those unlucky moments here and there, but yeah, still definitely a solid show. And you made a good point, because I think a lot of people were probably worried of how is AEW going to stand essentially when most stars aren't there. And everybody rose to the occasion and showed that, yeah, just because all of these people are gone, everybody still here is more than capable of running a show. And you're getting some people back supposedly, because you kind of already ruined one of the coming back on Wednesday, as if it wasn't so obvious with the whole conglomeration.
Yeah.
I got so mad about that, because again, we're sitting there watching that whole backstage thing, and it's just like, well, he said whatever. It's like, why did you guys just fully just fucking ruin the fact that Orange Cassidy is coming back? And then still was like, oh, well, we don't know who.
Like they could have said he didn't say yes, but he didn't say no.
Yeah, like, I mean, granted, obviously, anybody who knows the whole history with the conglomeration knew it was Orange, but don't make it so obvious that it's like, why did you even bother just being like, oh, well, we don't really know who it is yet, but tune in to see. It's like, we already know who it is. Stop ruining these returns. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It's driving me up a fucking wall, but whatever. And then it's going to be interesting to also see on Wednesday. And it sucks because, again, this is the one show AEW's had in Pittsburgh that I can't be there for, because I have my tattoo appointment. I have priorities. But now Tony Khan has this big announcement, as we always have to be. We get a little nervous with these, because Tony does love
probably something that's gonna be that's better suited for an email.
Yeah, I mean, there are some rumors going around online. Spoil it for the sake of the show, but if that is the case, and the rumor of what that announcement is actually true, I'm going to be a little mad to see it live. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, maybe, who knows? Maybe Britt's coming back. I don't know, but that's going to probably be a talking point next week of if she actually shows up or not. But we'll see what happens on Wednesday.
Well, we're speaking of next week. Our next show is going to be a questions episode, correct? We have no pay-per-views or PLEs to do predictions for. I think we're in the clear. I think we're in the clear. So next week's episode, guys, you can send in your questions. The best place to do so is on Twitter. Every single Monday afternoon, I post up a tweet on our Twitter account at Ringside Rundown, asking you guys to send in some questions, wrestling related questions pertaining to anything that's happening in WWE, AEW, or anything in professional wrestling that you would like us to discuss. It doesn't have to be, it could be one question, it could be 5 questions. Sometimes some people even send us 10 questions. So any questions that you have that you want to get our opinions, our thoughts on, you can send it, like I said, every Monday afternoon. I post up the tweet on our Twitter at Ringside Rundown. So make sure you're following us on Twitter at Ringside Rundown. Make sure you have that little notification bell on so you can see the tweet Don't worry, I don't tweet like a madman on that account, so you don't have to worry about notifications going off like crazy. But if you want to ask a question, you can do so. You can also go to our Discord server. The link is in the description of this episode to our Discord server, and our Discord server has a special channel where you can ask questions for the podcast and will be answered on the podcast. But again, it's either through Discord or through Twitter that you can ask us a question and we'll answer it on the podcast. That'll be happening next week's episode. So hopefully you guys check this out. This podcast is available on all podcast platforms. All you have to do is just search Ringside Rundown and hit the follow or subscribe button, whatever the platform asks of you, and you'll never miss an episode. We drop an episode every Wednesday. So make sure you have those notifications on so you can listen to the episode and let us know what you think. If you don't have a podcast platform to use, you can also find the episode on YouTube. But if you have a certain platform that you use and the podcast is not on there, hit us up in the DMs at Ringside Rundown on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and let us know what platform you use. We will get you back a link on that platform on a silver platter, but you have to give the silver platter back because it belongs to Shay's mom and she participates in the dark arts of Aleister Black. So we don't want to mess with her. She's kind of in that crazy stuff. She's kind of into that crazy stuff. So we don't want to get on her bad side. So make sure you give the silver platter back. Like I said, we're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Ringside Rundown. Also on YouTube at Ringside Run Pod on YouTube, where you can check out full episodes and short form content. On TikTok at Ringside_Rundown. But this is the most important part of this whole spiel right here. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday at 7:55 p.m. I am live on Twitch doing live watch-alongs for shows like Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, AEW Dynamite, and AEW Collision. So if you're bored at home and you're like, man, I wish I had some friends to talk wrestling with while this show is happening, come join us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Ringside Rundown, and that's where all the fun's happening. That's where you can make friends, talk wrestling, and have a good time. Shay, where can they get in touch with you?
You can find me on Twitter, my wrestling Twitter, at ShayRingside_. I always say it's like Eric's, but with my name on it. It's where I yell about wrestling and all the things going on. Obviously, I was pretty happy about Stat winning the titles, so give me a follow over there if you want to hear all my wrestling yells.
Definitely give her a follow. She's a good follow. Like I said, we'll be back next week with a questions episode. So make sure you have your questions and comments for us to read ready to go, and so we can have a great episode. Until then, I want to say thank you for listening to this episode. I want to say thank you to Shay for being such a good podcast partner. And for Shay Hickson, my name is Erik Vasquez, and we'll see you on the next one, guys. Take care.
See you later, guys.